Smackdown featured lots of big teases for potential storyline directions, so we'll see what's new there. We'll also check out what's going on with Becky Lynch, Roman Reigns, the Street Profits, and more. Starting things off with a major update for Roman Reigns. Roman has been gone from WWE television since early November's Crown Jewel event, and he's most likely going to remain gone from WWE until early 2024. So in terms of Roman's actual storyline on WWE television, it may be a while before it consistently picks up again. And as always, they try their best to keep the story going with Jimmy Uso, Solo Sikoa, and Paul Heyman. But obviously that whole story and dynamic doesn't flow the same when Roman isn't around to push the narrative forward. When Roman isn't there, it often feels like Jimmy and Solo's story is just stalling and buying some time until Roman comes back into the picture. So that's a little problem that pops up every so often. But even though Roman's next WWE appearance is a big mystery, there is still some solid news for his future. Reports seem to indicate that Roman Reigns will be at January's Royal Rumble event, with what most likely will be the first title defense of 2024. Now, who will the first title defense be against? Well, reports claim that Triple H has some big plans in store for Roman Reigns' match at the 2024 Royal Rumble. They claim that LA Knight is not expected to get his rematch against Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble. LA Knight is still lightly lurking around the Bloodline story, looking for a revenge on Solo and Jimmy. But according to reports, the payoff for that story won't be a Royal Rumble rematch against Roman Reigns. Roman will allegedly be facing off against a brand new fresh opponent at the event. There's still no word on the report about who the individual and new opponent for Roman Reigns will be, but AJ Styles is a name that's high on everyone's list. AJ Styles was taken out by the Bloodline in late September, early October, and has not been seen since at all ever since. So that's a big return that lots of fans are keeping their eyes out for. And if AJ Styles does turn out to be the big plan opponent for Roman Reigns at Royal Rumble 2024, then that would make a lot of sense. AJ Styles was taken out for months by the Bloodline, giving him a fair reason to come after them and Roman Reigns in a major way. Plus, Roman and AJ Styles haven't really squared off against each other for the Universal title over the last few years. So that matchup does fall into that category of being a fresh big matchup for the Royal Rumble. So major plans are coming for Roman Reigns in early 2024. We'll just have to wait and see what those major plans turn out to be. It's been a roller coaster of a few weeks for Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits, and it looks like part of that story isn't quite over yet. The Street Profits aligned with Bobby Lashley while still being their normal selves, and it worked for a little bit until it ultimately didn't, and the Street Profits were embarrassed with a big loss. That led to the Profits turning heel and switching their entire presentations and demeanors up in major ways. And that had them on track for a decent amount of time, but that hot streak came to an end following the tag team title match loss to the Judgment Day. The Street Profits haven't held gold in 3 years. It was a big title match for them to get themselves back on track, and they blew it. And Bobby Lashley wasn't at ringside, but he was backstage watching the match with B-Fab, and they did show his reaction to the Street Profits losing, and Lashley was absolutely enraged. It's also important to question if the Street Profits are losing their heel edges. The Street Profits turned heel weeks ago, but during the entrance of their tag team title match on November 24th, they were pondering to the crowd and doing their babyface gesture of trying to see which side of the crowd could make the most noise. That's a cool thing to do for a babyface team, but for a team that had a big heel turn a few weeks back, it's a pretty strange thing to see a heel team try and hype up the crowd. We gotta wonder if that gesture also plays a role in the story, and if Bobby Lashley will also call that out and say that they're losing their edge. So it was an all-around off night for the Street Profits, and judging by Bobby Lashley's reaction, there'll be a price to pay. Last time the Street Profits lost a big match, Bobby Lashley just immediately cut ties with them, and they basically had to beg him for a second chance to show him what they can do. So it'll be interesting to see what Bobby Lashley will do this time around to them following another big loss. Will he be quick to cut ties with them again, or will he hesitate a bit, considering that he invested a lot of time into them by this point? We can't also forget about B-Fab's potential role as well. B-Fab has been quietly standing by Bobby Lashley's side for weeks now, and we're waiting for her to do something that will advance her story with the faction. Maybe calming Bobby Lashley down and talking him off the edge of cutting ties with the Street Profits. Maybe a nice start for her role in the group. Bobby Lashley will absolutely be irate for the next few weeks, considering that his group was right there. So close to winning the tag team titles, and then it just slipped right out of his hands. So if B-Fab can talk him out of that frustration, that would go a long way for her own positioning within the group. Maybe this is her moment to break through and show that maybe she can be the voice of reason and moral compass of the group, to keep the peace and keep everyone on the same page. Every group needs an individual like that, and that could be B-Fab's role here to start off with, and then she could gradually grow her role as time goes on. The November 24th edition of Smackdown also featured the start of another potential storyline between Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. Becky and Charlotte were the best of friends when first being in NXT and getting called up to the main roster. They were always backstage together, and if you followed them way back on social media around 2016-2017, then you already know that they would always post backstage clips and traveling clips with each other. But as the years went on, Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair's characters drifted away from each other as they became competitive for the top spot in WWE. That's part of what led their characters from going from best friends to basically arch rivals. They even had a big feud just in 2022 that was beautifully handled and written so great that it had so many fans truly invested in a non-title match with nothing at stake. Fans were just so into that match because of the storyline of how much Becky and Charlotte couldn't stand each other. And now Charlotte Flair did the right thing and called up Becky Lynch to join the team at War Games. Try to put the past behind them, but the past is coming up again. Bayley stirred the pot a bit, saying that Becky and Charlotte have both told her things behind the other's back over the last few years, and we just continue to see that tension between Charlotte and Becky just spiral out of control for the rest of the night. They got into some backstage arguments. The team had to talk to them individually to try and get them on the same page, but their disconnection really imploded during the main event, when Charlotte basically cost Becky the win and they went off the air arguing. So fans are wondering if this is just a miniature version of the classic Can They Coexist storyline, strictly only for Survivor Series. Or is it the start of a much bigger storyline and singles feud between Becky Lynch and Charlotte? That's going to be hard to pull off considering they're both on two separate brands. But at least it shows WWE that fans are most definitely ready to see another great feud between Charlotte and Becky. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.